Hello, everybody. It's Big Al with some more content for Lord of the Rings Rise to War. So, over the next week or so, and while I'm in Bag End, I am going to do some commander guides. Some of them are going to be repeats because some of the commanders have changed slightly. So, I figured it's time to do them again. Couple things. They did fix the patch on the recuperation this week on the latest update. So now we all have to suffer with the recuperation. And as I'm going to say in every video that I do, devs, if you're watching, that wasn't a way to slow the gameplay. That is a way to limit how many hours a player can play on the game. Why would you want to stop people from being on the game? Okay, so now that that's done, let's take a look at Frodo and Sam, which he's my favorite commander. I don't know why, I just like him. He is a really good tank. People want to say he's not as good as he used to be because they changed his R2 adventurer skill. Well, it is true that skill helped a lot, but he is still a great tank. So, let's take a look at him. I emptied his gear so that we can go through and put the gear on him later. But we're going to talk about his skills first. Okay? First, you have your top R0, Respect 0 skill, and that's Master of Bag End. So, with this, the damage received by the commander's formation minus 30%, but its damage dealt is minus 20%. Honestly, it doesn't matter. You do not expect Frodo and Sam to do damage. It's all about mitigating the damage he receives. And then when you pump it up, it moves to where he's only losing 10%. And then it gives you unit defense, which is also good. For level 10, I think they should give more defense, but that's just me. The bottom R0 skill. Now, this one gives initiative during battle. So, here's the thing. Again, we don't want Frodo to do damage. We're not expecting him to. So that's not important. The march speed plus 30% at level 5 does help when either you're impatient or you're trying to go long distances. You can reset his skills right before you need to march him, say, to a fort that's halfway across the map. Reset his skill, put the march speed to 30%, march him, and then you can reset it because that will help get him there faster as well. But generally, you are not going to use this skill. The second one is the Hobbit Adventurer. This one does attack of man, elf, dwarf, hobbit, beast, and ent units in 2 allied formations, and it's modified by command. Level 5, it affects all 4 formations, and level 10, it gives plus 10% hit points. The old Frodo and Sam, before they changed it, this skill gave defense. So that was nice, especially because you're having him tank, and then it's also going to help keep his other armies alive, but now they chose to do it as an attack. So this also can come in handy on different formations. Say you're using Frodo as your tank, and then you're using troop buff commanders, like Theoden, for instance. Okay? He's giving buffs to the troops as well. Well, so does Frodo. So this might help because most of the time when you're using Frodo and Sam, you're going to draw in fights. Well, with this little bit of extra attack, it's going to help you to take a little bit more of a chunk out of the enemy. And his last skill is Ring Bearers. And this one is a 35% chance to evade damage taken. And then it also has a 25% chance to succumb to madness. Well, at level 5, you no longer inflicts madness on yourself. And level 10 is damage stats plus 5%. So, with that being said, his absolute most important skill is Master of Bag End. Because he's tanking, you want to take the least amount of damage as possible. Then the second one is Ring Bearer. So keep in mind, this goes off every round. So 35% chance. Okay, we're going to round it. So 1 out of every 3 rounds, he's going to evade the damage. And with Frodo, usually you're going to use taunting or protecting troops, such as Swan Knights or Mountain Trolls or Great Beasts if you are in non-roleplay, same thing with Mountain Trolls. So that's nice also to be able to miss that damage. So first Master of Bag End, second Ring Bearers, and then third you might as well help with the attack from Hobbit Adventure in R2. Let's take a look at his relic really quick. And this is one thing that very much upsets me. The devs have changed so many things. Why won't you change his relic? Okay, his stuff modifies off of command, his attack buff. Well, his relic only gives hit points, defense, initiative, and unit defense. The unit defense is nice. The initiative, okay, but doesn't really matter with him. Then the ability is in the first 2 rounds this formation has a 11.7% chance to evade all damage when the enemy army includes orcs. And if you click orcs, it will show you all of the evil units that classify as orcs. So the ability is very specific, which sucks. And if you look at the orcs troops, I mean, you got the crushers there. I mean, the Morgul archers, okay. War drummers are used sometimes, and then warlords are used as well. But again, it's very specific. But why doesn't his relic have command? One of his skills modifies off command, so it should have command. And he's a tank. So that's another thing that the devs really need to work on. So, with that being said, he's tanking and he's a support. Okay, so you're going to want to build him with as much command and unit defense as possible. So I'm going to show you first just with purple gear. Okay, I'm going to show you the best on slot for purple gear, and that is these right here. I think it's this one. Yep. And I like the 2-piece sets most of the time because they are different. So you have the Cutlass, the Horseman's Helm, the Superior Hawbuck, and the Drums of Moria. These are the absolute best for him when it comes to purple gear. I like Fortitude because its physical damage received by the commander's formation is minus 5%. Well, it's physical damage. Normal attacks come out in the reports as physical damage dealt. So you're dropping 5% of that. And then you also have the evasive action. First 3 rounds, this formation's damage received minus 10%. So that means all damage. Okay? And this is a very, very good skill, especially when you're using mountain trolls or swans, because you are bringing the damage to yourself for the first 3 rounds. So this is a little bit extra. It's very nice for him to tank. And then you have a bunch of options for the gold gear. I have redone my gear, and this is what I am looking at on my gear. Okay. Yes, the upkeep, it doesn't matter. That doesn't help Frodo at all. But I made it because I will be sharing equipment with other commanders. And also it's what I could make. The Reckoning is the best in slot gold gear for him. It gives the most command and the most unit defense. And then same thing with the Harp. It gives the most command and the most unit defense compared to the other ones. As the helmet, you're kind of looking at a Cask of the Submerged Isle. Let me go in here so I can show you items. So for the helmet, you're looking at Cask of the Submerged Isle would be the best with the most command and the most unit defense. You can use other ones. This Herod Cask is what I used to use, but I'm switching it up and I wanted to use my gold gear on my damage dealer. So the Herod cask is the second best. Okay, and then we're talking about accessories. Or no, we already did, which is the harp, which is the main. Okay, now we're going to talk about armor. This right here is the best in slot for him. It is the High Elf Hawk, and it gives the most unit defense out of all of the armors. And again, on armor, the only ability that you are going to get is hit points. And then the second choice is the Durance Plate. That gives the second most unit defense. Okay. I'm going to talk about the weapons. Like I said, the Reckoning is number one. The Lang is also another very good choice. High command, it gives unit defense, and it gives some of the other stats as well. So, like I said, you're going to be using Frodo as a tank. And when it comes to formations, he can run with just about anybody. You put him as the leader, and the reason you put Frodo as the leader is because he is the commander that's going to stay alive the longest. That's the only thing that matters about the position, how you position the commanders in the formation, is you want the person that's going to survive the longest. That way, say you get hit, all three other commanders are dead. Well, guess what? You can still move, say, move back a couple spaces if you're on the front line so that you can reinforce. Otherwise, if the leader of the formation dies, you have to go all the way back to the fort or your base. You have to hit recall because you won't be able to reinforce safely. So, with Frodo, like I said, he can run with anybody. He can tank in any formation, just about. I can't think of one off the top of my head for it, but that's it. So, that's my video on Frodo and Sam. I hope you guys liked it. And as always, make the most out of what you got.